Hi, Sophie.
Hi, Sin.
Hi, everyone. And welcome to the Snack Covenant, episode 260. Sophie, what are we doing here today?
In the distance, an owl hoots. It's the witching hour. It can only mean it's time for spooky news.
Thank you, Nostradamus the Vampire.
Thank you.
And today we're going to talk about Scorn.
Scorn is the game that we've covered in this segment that I know the most about because I saw one trailer for it about 5 years ago.
Scorn is a first-person survival horror adventure video game developed by Ebb Software. It was announced by Ebb in 2014. Scorn is directly inspired by the works of H.R. Giger and Zdzisław Baczynski, and the game feels very Alien meets Event Horizon, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now about the release date. The TLDR is that we don't know the release date.
Yeah, what is this Brave Earth prologue?
The pinned tweet on Score's official Twitter was posted on October 21st, 2020. It says, Scorn Xbox Series X gameplay trailer. Release date 2021. The tweet links to a 13-minute Scorn gameplay video which was posted on the same day as the tweet. Moreover, a Game Radar article released last month had this to say. Scorn is scheduled to launch this fall. Previously, Scorn was broadly expected sometime this year, but we now know that it's specifically targeting this fall. As for Ebb Games, their last upload on their official YouTube channel was in October 2020. Their last update on Kickstarter was also in October 2020. Their last tweet was in October 2020. So, in a nutshell, it may be coming out this year.
Yeah.
But nothing specific has been announced.
Right.
So that's it. That's the news, Sophie.
Good.
But I have more. Scorn is a game we're really looking forward to.
That sounded so believable. Scorn is a game we're both looking forward to.
However, I know there are some people that only watch the Snack Covenant for our Dead Space content.
That's true.
Thus, they wouldn't be familiar with Scorn. So I thought we should catch them up on what's up with Scorn. Now, Sophie.
Yes, Sin.
Before we start, a quick note. Since Scorn was announced, Ebb did interviews here and there. And every time Ebb would drop a new video on their official YouTube channel, bigger channels like GameSpot, Xbox, IGN, etc.
Sinclair Law.
They would show the same videos as well.
Yeah.
Plus, fans of Scorn would make videos and tweets and posts and everything.
Yeah.
All that to say, the game did have some coverage and exposure from official places as well as fans throughout the past 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
For the purpose of this short video, I'm mostly going to reference the Ebb Software official YouTube channel and Kickstarter when citing information. I'm not going to reference each interview and stuff like that, since this is going to be a short, quick, condensed timeline of events.
Right.
Alright, let's start. Ebb Software is a Serbian game development studio founded in 2013. On November 12, 2014, Ebb announced that they're developing Scorn. The same day, they dropped a 2-minute video titled Scorn Pre-Alpha Footage on their official YouTube page. What we saw was basically a floating camera exploring this alien installation overgrown with flesh.
Yeah, that's the one I saw. That's what got me interested in it, and then I didn't hear anything about it again until now. Either it was cancelled or it came out and no one liked it, so it just disappeared.
And that trailer, I thought it was really, really cool. We did see hints of gameplay here and there, but what I really liked was at the end of the trailer, there was this strange creature hanging by the ceiling. It was really weird. The announcement of Scorn was followed by a Kickstarter campaign. The aim was 200,000 euros, but they only had 142 pledges, which amounted to about 4,000 euros.
Oh.
So that Kickstarter was cancelled. But Sophie. Soon thereafter, backers received a message from App Software, which said,
"We got some good news to share with you. We have managed to acquire funding for development of Scorn after all. Full production starts in February. Since you supported us when we needed it the most, we've decided to give everyone who pledged their reward for free, even physical items, once the game is released. It's all on us. So send your email and info to info@scorngame.com and we will contact you at the end of the production. Once again, thanks for the support. We will do our best to create a great game. Ebb Software."
You see, Sophie, by pure luck, just 1 month after the initial Kickstarter died, project lead Lubomir Peklar met an investor. From the articles I read, nobody mentioned who this mysterious investor is, so I'm going to assume the investor is Lubomir from the future, helping his past self make this game.
That makes sense, because then the game will be successful. He'll get rich, and then be able to go back in time. But then if he gives the money to himself, he won't have it in the future.
Oh no, he's stuck in a perpetual loop.
Oh no!
On June 29, 2016, App Software released a 3.5-minute video on their YouTube channel called Scorn Teaser Trailer. And if you showed me that teaser trailer out of context, I'd be like, is this another Alien? Or is this Dead Space 4? The trailer was beautiful, haunting, the soundtrack was amazing, I loved it yet again. We got some additional information out of it. We saw this skinless humanoid creature.
Yeah.
Which is the player character.
Yeah.
And they were holding this weird bone gun.
Yeah.
And we also got a look at a little creature.
That's the most Beksinski-looking thing. There's a reasonably well-known Beksinski painting of this sort of weird crawling creature. Looks like it's covered in bandages, and that little thing in Scorn, it sort of looks like a chicken almost.
Yeah.
It basically looks like a bunch of Beksinski creatures in an HR Giga environment, with a little bit of Wayne Barlow, if I had to describe it.
Thank you, Sophie. We also got some information at the very end of the trailer, because there was this writing that said, Part 1 of 2, Dasein, 2017. And then it had like a Steam symbol and Unreal Engine symbol under it.
Yeah.
So from this we can extrapolate that this is a 2-part game. The first part is called Dasein. It's going to be released 2017. Unreal Engine, Steam.
So how did that go?
Well, Sophie. App Games initiated a second Kickstarter in 2017.
Was the investor Keiji Inafune?
What?
Continue. Hi, Sophie here. As usual in these, Sin ambushing me and getting me to record with her about upcoming games that I haven't heard of, I didn't know what to say, so I went to my little closet of easy go-to references, and I made a little joke about Keiji Inafune and Kickstarters, because Keiji Inafune did a Kickstarter for Mighty Number 9, and then he did a Kickstarter for Red Ash, and then after that he did another Kickstarter for a different Red Ash, and one of those 3 things came out, and it might be better for everyone that the other 2 didn't. Although Sin does like Mighty Number 9, so there you go. There's another note later. I'll record that now. I don't know why I have to do these. Back to the podcast.
On their second Kickstarter, under Story, they wrote,
For the past 2 years, our team has been working hard on the development of Scorn. Our studio has grown to over 20 people, and we have entered the financial partnership with Humble Bundle, which helped us immensely at the time. We're getting close to the completion of Part 1, but we're really not satisfied with all aspects of the game. After much internal deliberation, we decided that it would be the best to try to acquire additional resources, taking more time to polish the game and really make it shine rather than releasing something we're not entirely happy with. If we succeed in raising additional funds through this campaign, we plan to release the game in 2018.
Thank you, Sophie. So the initial plan was to have 2 parts. The first part would be called Dasein, which is German for being there or presence.
Right.
And instead of being released in 2017, as shown in the trailer in the previous year, the ideal goal would be to release Part 1 in 2018.
Right.
On September 5th, 2017, Ebb released an 8-minute Scorn gameplay trailer on their official YouTube channel. And that was really cool. It starts off showing the strange planet the game takes place on. It's covered with a weird fleshy organism. The camera goes into an opening in the ground, which leads into a flashy sci-fi factory or a flashy spaceship underground.
Yeah.
It's covered with flash.
Yeah.
It's so gross, it's so cool. And we get some first-person gameplay.
Right, yes.
We walk around, we open doors with a space rock boomerang thing. We get to see strange creatures.
Yeah.
We get to see our strange bone gun.
Yeah.
The sounds in the trailer are really gross.
Yeah.
Love it.
The guns in this really remind me of the Tyranid weapons from Warhammer 40,000. Like, the things in Scorn are very clearly guns.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have what are obviously like ammunition clips and bullets and things, but they're all made out of like bones and sort of weird polyps and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I guess is different to like when you think about like bioweapons in other games that would like vomit on you or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like real life has lizards that shoot blood out of their eyeballs. It does. And like bombardier beetles and things, and this is a gun.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is like the thing that struck me about it is that it was leaning into the sort of the body horror biology aspects of Giger and Beksinski, and I mentioned Wayne Barlow as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was leaning into that more so than the sort of like surreal hellish elements that those 3 people also do. It's hard to separate Giga from the Xenomorph because that's what he's best known for, and it's what was a lot of people's introduction to him. Obviously, was Alien, but weirdly, the game that I think used Giga in a way that wasn't that was Darkseid, which is a I think kind of not very well known and honestly not very good series of adventure games. That it was like very, very old adventure games where like the backgrounds were just static images. And the static images were digitized Giga paintings, either like directly digitized or like hacked up into pieces to sort of like create this environment. And those games leaned really heavily into the aspect of Giga that was more like surreal, that was more like a weird sort of sexual fever dream situation than like a bunch of bones and skulls. So if you look at Darkseid, like it has backgrounds that are just like a baby's head with a safety pin stuck in it, which is like that's the side of Giga that Alien kind of didn't do. Alien just stuck with like things that could look like they could conceivably have grown, whereas Darkseid's like is just this. It's almost like constant sort of incongruity of like babies' faces and like like the bottom halves of people's mouths and things, and doors that look like they're unzipping, like the fly on pants and things like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Sophie. At the end of this trailer, we also saw some writing.
Yeah.
It said, part 1 of 2 Dyson 2018, with again a Steam thing and an Unreal Engine thing. So this Kickstarter was going well. On September 14, 2017, they made a Kickstarter post saying they reached 75% of their goal. On September 29th, they made another Kickstarter post announcing that they reached their goal. And the next few Kickstarter posts were about stretch goals.
Right.
On October 10th, 2017, they made a post on Kickstarter titled, "We Did It." That post said,
Scorn Kickstarter campaign is finally over and it is a success. Thanks to all of you amazing people from around the world. Thank you for sticking with us and providing your continuous support, liking, sharing, backing, and playing Scorn.
The initial goal was 150,000 euros. With the help of 5,636 backers, they got just over 190,000 euros. And they ended that post with,
We'd like to keep you guys updated as much as possible on the development of Scorn, but we would also like to focus on the game instead of being fabulous on social media. It's not a problem that we have, Sen. So we'll do our best to make monthly updates and an occasional sneak peek. We'll answer all the questions you guys might have and try to clear up any confusion that might arrive in the following days. Thank you once again for helping us make Scorn.
It's a very positive and helpful post. And it's like, oh my god, Scorn is really happening, hype! And then nothing, radio silence for 2 months. Their next Kickstarter post, they said,
We've been quiet for a while since we had a lot of Kickstarter aftermath to deal with, but we'd like to let you know that we're still alive and kicking. Of course, the main reason for the extended radio silence is that we have tons of work to do on the game.
And this is a recurring theme for app software, when they'll drop some info and then just disappear for a while.
This is like me working on my dissertation. Sorry for the lack of updates, I've just been really busy and focused.
Exactly. However, I would like to give props to whoever runs their Twitter.
Yeah.
Because even though the actual updates are rare and sporadic, from what I've seen, their Twitter manager is promptly replying to all the questions people have.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to point out I did finish my dissertation on time, so I'm not accusing them of slacking off.
Thank you, Sophie.
I'm just saying it's a vibe.
Thank you, Sophie. Now, Sophie, when I was researching this, I saw an article that said, Scorn projected release date of October 2018 came and went, and some people suspected the game might have been an elaborate scam, which was not helped by app software's tendency to maintain social media radio silence for months on end. And I thought, that's weird. Did they really not tell people the game is delayed again? So I went on their official Twitter. They made 5 tweets in 2018. One of the tweets, posted on August 10, 2018, was called Important Announcement. And it was linking to a post on App's official Scorn website. And when I clicked the link, it was like, page not found. So I'm thinking that announcement must have been them talking about the delay. But I really wanted to find the announcement and see for myself if anything in what they said was misleading, or maybe they didn't talk about the delay at all.
Right.
So I did some Googling. I found a post called Important Announcement, made on August 10, 2018 on their Kickstarter as well as Steam community page. And here is what the post said.
Important announcement. Hello everyone. We have another significant update on the development of Scorn. There's a lot of info we need to disclose, so we are going to cut straight to the point. We have a good/bad situation on our hands, predominantly good. The good. We managed to sign an excellent deal with Great Investment Fund to acquire additional funds for the development of Scorn. The fund in question is very hands-off regarding creative elements of the game, and that was the primary reason we decided to go through with the deal. Creative freedom is the most important aspect of us as a studio. From the very beginning of the project, we wanted to create a game without too many compromises, and That indeed isn't an easy task. With this new deal, we are in an excellent position to create much better quality, fully realized game. A single compromise we did make was to split the game into 2 parts. Cynical people were saying we were just doing it to make more money, but that couldn't be further from the truth. It was a necessity if we wanted to finish the game to the kind of high-fidelity scope and modest budget which partly came from our backers. The newly acquired resources will enable us to develop Scorn as intended from start to finish, the whole experience, not just the first part. There has been a lot of debate recently, with many not-so-positive stories about the quality of indie games, especially those funded through Kickstarter. It's somewhat understandable why these kind of things happen, as game development takes a lot of dedication, perseverance, and stamina. Since we started this project, our top priority was to create the best game possible. During this time, we have faced many hardships, but our goal has remained the same. We have never faltered, and we will stick to our motto, making the best game possible. We will never release something subpar and call it a day. The bad. Making the whole game is going to take more time. Scorn Part 1 of 2, Dasein, will not be released this year. We know that some of you are going to be understandably disappointed as you were eagerly awaiting Scorn Part 1 of 2, Dasein, in October 2018. And although we understand that, we still think that this new deal is the best course of action for us and ultimately the players, as it will enable us to develop a better game. The upside is you won't be left waiting for a cliffhanger for Part 2. Now you will experience the game from start to finish as intended, but at a later date that is yet to be announced. However, we also realize some of you will not be satisfied with this development and feel this is not what you signed up for. For everyone who wants to cancel their pledge and get their money back, we are offering a full refund at any time during development. Once again, thank you for sticking with us this far. We will give our best to make your wait worthwhile and create a great game.
So I think this post was very good. They explain what's happening, they talk about the rewards, they talk about the release date, they talk about postponing things, refunds. Everything's laid out. It seems pretty transparent. They are cutting it close, I guess.
Yes, they are.
Game is supposed to be released in October. This is August.
Yep.
I think maybe this message didn't necessarily reach everyone. That's why some people were worried and some people were like, is this a scam? What's happening? But I think for a small studio, they're doing their best.
Yeah.
In September 2018, Ebb announced that Scorn is part of a new lineup of games supported by the Kowloon Knights Video Game Investment Fund. What's a Kowloon?
I think this is probably I don't know. I don't know what Kowloon Knights is, but Kowloon was a walled city. It's demolished now, but it was this enormous city that was encased sort of inside a wall, basically.
Is this like Warhammer 40,000 or real life?
No, it's real.
Oh.
Hi, Sophie here. Sin wants me to make a note explaining Kowloon. So, Kowloon is an area on the south coast of Hong Kong, and as happens with Hong Kong a fair bit, there was some disagreement over who exactly owned it. And Sin wants me to talk about the Kowloon walled city because she didn't know it existed until I mentioned it to her in the context of discussing Scorn for some reason. I can't remember why this came up. So the Kowloon walled city was a Chinese military fort that over time became this sort of ungoverned space where about 50,000 people were living in this extremely densely packed area. And yeah, for basically political reasons, it ended up not really being owned by anyone, and it ended up being governed by the Triads. And because it was this big, incredibly dense, lawless urban space, it was very influential on a lot of kind of near-future cyberpunk stuff. And if you're curious, you can look it up. It was demolished in the 90s, but there's surviving photographs and surviving video of what it was like there. So, I don't know what this has to do with Scorn. I can't think of anything that is less like Scorn than Kowloon Walled City, but there we go. Back to the podcast, and congratulations for making it this far, because I looked at the end of that Scorn thing, and that was over an hour long of us discussing frankly nothing.
In March 2019, Ebb had to address claims that they're a scam.
Oh no.
Oh no. And on their Kickstarter, they wrote,
"Regarding scam implications, we'd like to remind everyone that we're, the only scam in town, still offering full refunds. If you think about it critically, if this whole production was a scam, we would have had a much more lavish Kickstarter campaign with some outlandish perks and rewards. We would almost certainly offer console versions of the game, and we wouldn't be able to get financed by one of the biggest gaming funds in the world."
I don't think they're a scam. I just think it's a small studio working on a project and they're doing what they can.
Yeah, it's a thing that happens all the time. We've talked about this, at your work and at my work. You have a project you're working on, and you have an estimate for how long it'll take, and it usually takes longer, and sometimes you just have to say, we're gonna take longer because we want to get it finished properly, and that's what's happening.
Or sometimes it's no, this is the deadline. Alright, well, we can't do this, and this.
Yeah,
You gotta pick one.
Yeah, no, but there's a saying that, you can have something good, fast, or cheap, and you can pick two of those things. So you can have something fast and cheap, but it won't be good. You can have something fast and good, but it won't be cheap. You can have something cheap and good, but it won't be fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
On May 7, 2020, they released another 2-minute video titled Scorn, Xbox Series X trailer, with the description saying, "Scorn is an atmospheric first-person horror adventure currently in development by Ebb Software for Xbox Series X and Windows PC." And this one has a little more sexual imagery.
A little.
A little.
There's just a big old dick.
Thank you, Sophie.
This is my favorite of the trailers, I think.
How come?
Because this is the stuff that interests me about it. I don't really care about shooting people with a gun that is made of bones, but this one here, there's just all this weird rotting meat and flies and what appears to be some sort of insemination thing where semen comes out of a wall dick into this person who's got a glowing womb, and you stick sort of these phallic objects in things and it makes them split open. If I saw this and I didn't know anything else about the game, I'd think this looks amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because this is what I was talking about before. It's this is the sort of nightmarish side of it. More so than here's a thing that grew. That I'm sort of more interested in. This looks a lot more like Darkseid. This is Mike Dawson and the Shrimp Baby are there.
Thank you, Sophie.
The Hall of Death is there. The only way out is death.
Thank you, Sophie.
Scorn is Darkseid 3. The investor was game designer Mike Dawson.
Thank you, Sophie.
This will explain everything.
It's interesting that you mentioned that this is the specific thing that really interests you.
Yeah.
Do you know why I love this game? I'm gonna tell you why I love this game.
Okay.
So, as you may or may not know, I really like horror stuff and scary stuff.
Yeah, I did notice. That's why you've made me record 3 of these.
And what I really, really like is when a location or an installation, a house, a spaceship, whatever,
Yeah.
it's alive.
Yeah, we were having this conversation the other day. I will now retrieve a transcription. Okay. This is Sin. You know when there's a haunted house, it's like, I'm haunted. And the other people are like, I'm so sick of this fucking house, and they punch it? Sophie, what movie is this? Sin, it's an amalgamation! Sophie, of what? Sin, movies! You know, like when the cube is all, I will rearrange myself.
Thank you, Sophie. And being alive could mean that the space is taken over by some sort of a weird organism.
Well, alright, this is the thing that, like, I'm interested in. Because to me it looks like everything here grew. It doesn't look like this is like a normal base and then some weird flesh things that are growing over it. The original Doom and Doom 2 actually do this quite a bit. So the idea was like, okay, I've not actually played anything past Doom 2, I'm sorry. But like, the idea of, okay, this is like a military / research base that like, and then parts of it fell into hell.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be like orderly straight corridors, and then suddenly like, oh, the wall is made of meat. Whereas this looks like everything looks like it's supposed to look like that. It looks like they just grew this place. But at the same time, from the gameplay trailers, there's like weapon racks. There's like doors you can open and close with buttons. There's like obvious like pens and things where creatures are kept. So it's been grown, but and also like obviously the main character just looks like a person. So it looks more like it has been grown in the likeness of existing inorganic technology. That's the impression I get from it, and I don't know if that is going to be part of the actual like world. That like, yeah, we did actually grow things to resemble and function like inorganic tech, because it could be like, I don't know, like if you say like, okay, this is like a colony world or something, and we realize, well, we can just like grow colonies instead of having to move all the crap there. So we'll just like, everything's going to be made out of bones and teeth and stuff, but it'll just work the same, like some David Cronenberg Existenz stuff. And maybe that's why everything's sort of like, even the structure of the thing, like it just has like, here's a corridor that has windows on the side. That's like, which like, so it's actually not like, if you look at like Alien, when they go into that crashed ship, even though it's a ship, like it does look like the inside of a corpse. It doesn't look like here is a spaceship that we stuck skin on. It actually looks like, what the hell is this thing? And when you go inside, it's like you're actually going through this like, sort of vaginal opening. There's all this like secretion everywhere. They find the eggs, but like it looks like a nest. It doesn't look like whereas this just has like a weapon rack that you go and you recharge your gun at.
Yeah.
And you like actually just pick up little like polyp things and load them in the gun. So I'm curious as to like what I said, like, is this going to be, this world was grown to mimic the way that like a space station would function, and maybe that's the plot. Maybe it's like, we realized it was easier to, if we're going to build like colonies and space stations and stuff, to just like make an organic one that grows by itself, and then, you know, if it gets damaged, maybe the walls heal themselves or something like that. Or is it going to be like, yeah, this is like a wholly original like bio hellscape that just happens to function like a space station, and I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, that's a good point, because in my mind, my headcanon so far is that they built something in a world.
Yeah.
Like a house, a spaceship crashed, whatever. Like an actual structure is there, but on that spaceship or on that house, in that structure, some things were organic. However, with time, the organic part just overgrew and started taking over more and more non-organic stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like there was supposed to be a balance before, but now it's just everything's being overgrown.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I really love that. I can't wait to see what the lore is. I can't wait to see what the story is. And I really like your idea where they're trying to grow a colony.
I'm actually the developer of Scorn. This is viral marketing. That's why I'm always too busy to record, even though I clearly have nothing else to do. working on Scorn. I'm actually not a vegetarian, it's just I'm using all the meat to make Scorn. So I can't eat it.
Thank you, Sophie.
Imagine if I grew, like, a bio-colony. It would just be, like, cupcakes and stuff.
Sophie, that's gonna be our Scorn mod, where instead of having these grotesque things on the walls, it's like cupcakes, cakes.
Pom-poms. We need to raise Kickstarter money to buy everything from the craft section at Kmart. Hi, Sophie here. If you've made it this far into the podcast, you must really, really like listening to us talk. Well, if you really do like listening to us talk, you can go to patreon.com/SinclairLaw, where, just like Scorn, we too can be crowdfunded. Rather than failing to deliver things, we deliver too many things. It never fucking stops. There's no script, there's no point. Sin just calls me and hits record. Patreon.com/SinclairLaw. Also remember to hit subscribe and ring the bell. Back to the podcast.
On October 22nd, 2020, they released a 14-minute video titled Scorn Xbox Series X Gameplay Trailer.
Yeah.
I love this because it's disgusting and beautiful. Like, that's what I get from it.
I like the lighting a lot. The way it's lit, like, it does make things look way more like bone.
Yeah.
It's, like, very, very good.
And that 14-minute video was the last video they posted on their YouTube channel.
Oh.
That was like, what, 9 months ago?
Yeah.
And if you watch all the videos in one shot, you'll notice some changes and improvements they've made over the years to this one level.
Yeah.
I hope the game has more than one level. I mean, it can all be like this. I'll still love it, but I hope there's just like more than 15 minutes of gameplay. What if there's not? What if the game is just 15 minutes long?
Well, you know, I have the trophy for beating Gone Home in under a minute. Like,
okay.
Doesn't mean the game is bad. You know what this makes me think of now?
What?
Makes me think of the G.I. Joe movie from 1986. Have you seen it?
Maybe like a really, really long time ago.
It is so fucking weird. It's like the G.I. Joe team, and they go, and it becomes the fucking Mountains of Madness. They go to, like, God, it's the Himalayas, and they find, like, a 40,000-year-old race of, like, snake people that live in this, like, weird bio-hell full of giant mushrooms. And there's a guy with, like, the Guyver wrist blades.
Okay.
And there's spores that turn you into a snake. And there's all this weird, like, they're, like, at the end of it, they're like, escaping the snake people kingdom, but, like, the bridges are actually the backs of giant beetles, and they start ripping themselves out of the ground. It is so weird. And, like, I hope Scorn is that. I hope Scorn is actually inspired by 1986 G.I. Joe movie. And the villain is voiced by Burgess Meredith. Spores! I am Globulus, ruler of the underground kingdom of Cobra-La.
Sophie, do the outro.
That was the Snack Covenant episode 260. Spooky News, episode 3.
I think it's 4.
Or whatever. Wasn't a series until I gave it a name to differentiate it from the episodes that are things people actually subscribe to watch. Hi, we love you. It's Scorn.
And Sophie,
Yes.
if you had to predict a release date, what would you say?
March 2022.
That's my date for Elden Ring.
Yeah, so one of us will be right.
Okay, I'll say October 2022.
Alright.
Now some people might go, wait a minute, Sin, Elden Ring was already announced, and I predicted my date like last year and it was really close, and if they delayed and it's in March, I'm right yet again.
So Miyazaki did say that they are confident they'll make the January release date, so there's a little possibility that it's going to be delayed a little bit, in which case it might actually be out March 2022.
Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you, Sin.
And thank you everyone for listening. And see y'all next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.